Hey, what's up? Well, I have a moment that I want to make a quick video. I know I'm making way too many of these here lately, but it's just my favorite thing to do. And I'm wearing, we're finally in March, so I get to actually wear something that has nothing to do with Valentine's or Mardi Gras. And unfortunately, it's hot once again. So happy March. I'd rather be in the space room. But I guess this is a better place to make a video than most. So what I'd like to talk about first of all is this little doll. And how she'll go nicely with the elves, I think, except their heads might be a little too big. She's on more of a 1/6 scale, and what I really wish, just like with so many other dolls, is that I would have bought and appreciated these dolls when they were cheap at the Family Dollar and or the Dollar General, and as opposed to being on eBay for several times what they used to cost. And I wish I would have collected more of them. She's a soft body doll, and she's kind of floppy, and the reason I wanted her is because well, she's what, 7 inches, like a Stacy doll, and I wanted the red head or the auburn head. She's like a cheerleader of sort, and she didn't have panties. She was all naked butt, so I made her a blue diaper panty, so you'll know it isn't a diaper. But there was a time when I didn't appreciate dolls like this because well, they couldn't stand up like a normal doll. But now I've sort of broadened my doll appreciation, and what happened was I had tried to make one of these into a regular doll, and that project didn't work out as well as I wanted it to. She didn't end up looking very good. I took off her head and I tried to put it on a different kind of body. That didn't work out too well, and I got one that was a blonde. You see, they all have the same eyebrows and eyelashes and eye color, I think, regardless of what color hair they have. And so, I decided to buy one that actually had auburn hair rather than, butchering a blonde. I mean, it was ridiculous how I thought I could change their hair color, but I ended up making a mess, and I tried to paint it brown, so I figured I'd rather her just start off brown because there's just too many blondes. Just way too many blonde dolls. But I've gained an appreciation for soft body dolls with vinyl faces because, while they're not as good as just straight up posable dolls, they're better than not having any. Okay, so that's my little cheerleader doll. And I think the one that I used to have had like a blue and orange outfit, but I like this one. So anyway, that's my little cheerleader. And I think I have an Archie doll with a cloth body and a blonde of another type that's very similar to this. So, I like the auburn hair, blue eyes. Anyway, what I'd like to talk about in this video, I'm going to sit her down and hope that she'll be all right. What I like to talk about in this video, let's see if I could ever get this tablet to stay on. I asked the AI bot a question, just to see what it would say. And I'm going to share 2 questions and answers this time. The first one, and it deals with that video I made about pyrophobia. I said, how can I stop thinking about a fire that happened at a nearby apartment building when I lived in Texas? The date was November 9th, 2021, 11/9 instead of 9/11, and it's 20 years after 9/11. So 242 months after 9/11, something like that. and it was 3 a.m. when I heard the fire trucks. I walked a block or more to investigate because I saw flames shooting up into the night sky from my own apartment. Never before had I seen a burning building in real time, and the roof collapsed as the firemen shot water into the flames for 2 hours. I continued to walk to and from this scary burned-down building, marked unsafe and off limits, until it was demolished over 3 months later. Why does it continue to be so unnerving when I hear a siren now that I have moved to another state? How can I get those images and burnt smells out of my memory now that it's 2 years in the past? I can no longer find most of the photos taken of it, but when I close my eyes, I still see the horror of the roof having completely burned off the upper floor, while the ground floor surprisingly had areas that looked unscathed. There was mold on the wall from the water damage and a seemingly intact couch left behind. There were rafters exposed due to the fire hose having washed away the drywall in the least burnt areas. There were even some Halloween stickers that remained on a window despite everything else having exploded like a bomb. How can I forget the sound of popping wood and squealing embers lighting up the cool night sky as the soot raining down into my hair as I got close enough to where the ladder truck was spraying the water? And then the answer: I understand how traumatic experiences can leave a lasting impact on our minds and senses. It's completely normal for you to feel unnerved by sirens after witnessing an intense fire like the one you described. The images and smells you mention are vivid and disturbing, and it's no wonder they still linger in your memory. One strategy to help manage these memories is try to reframe your thoughts when you hear sirens. Instead of immediately going back to the fire, try to think of a positive or neutral association, like a safety drill or a normal response to an emergency. Another technique is exposure therapy, where you gradually and safely confront the stimuli that trigger your memories. While practicing relaxation techniques like deep breathing or progressive muscle relaxation, this can help desensitize you over time. Additionally, consider talking to a therapist. Well, that's easier said than done. Remember, healing takes time, and it's okay to acknowledge your feelings. With patience, self-care, and support, you can work towards reducing the stress triggered by these memories and move forward. Okay, well, what made me think about that is, of course, on my phone, I still have all these, pictures and videos of the fire, and it's like, here we are over 2 years later, and, I still have all these, pictures and videos of a fire, and I'm trying to get them off my phone, so that I don't have to be concerned with, what happened in, 21? Oh my gosh, I never thought I'd be talking about the 20s as my recent past, okay? And then the next question I asked, I said, I awoke from a dream in which I was with some people I hadn't seen in decades. I've been wanting to meet up with them for years, fantasizing about how it could play out and where we might go eat together. In this dream, as in the real world, the former children were young adults, though not quite as grown up as they currently are, putting this dream in about 2012. The one thing that stood out in my mind was a scene where it's nighttime and we're watching a school football game. Hence the cheerleader thoughts. It was weird that the audience was required to participate in the fight song as the band played, which has never actually been the case, and I didn't enjoy doing this. I woke up glad it wasn't real, and that my biggest problem was that I still cannot connect with the people that I met in this dream. Life has taken us all to different locations. We used to all live in the same area 30 years ago. Somehow this dream made me realize what a blessing it is to be in a different place and time where I no longer have to care what such people think of me, and where they look even more drastically different than they did back then. Dreams tone down the aging process. Why do such dreams put me at peace with the fact that I can no longer see most of the people from my past? And the answer was, what a fascinating dream. It sounds like your subconscious mind was processing your desire to reconnect with old friends and revisit memories from the past. The dream's unique twist, like the required participation in the fight song, might symbolize your feelings about wanting to fit in or conform to past expectations. The dream's ability to transport you to a different time and place where you've moved on from the concerns of your youth might be a reflection of your personal growth and acceptance. It's as if your mind is reassuring you that you've evolved and are now in a better place, free from the constraints of your past. The fact that dreams can tone down the aging process and revisit memories from a specific time is indeed a remarkable aspect of our subconscious mind's storytelling abilities. It's almost like your dream was giving you a chance to visit an old friend, but with the wisdom and perspective of your current self. Overall, it's beautiful that your dream brought you a sense of peace and acceptance about the natural progression of life and the distances that have grown between you and old friends. It's a reminder that our experiences and connections shape us, but our growth and evolution are what make life meaningful, okay? And I highly doubt that a human could have written such an eloquent response. But, I do think another factor that, the bot doesn't understand is that right down the street from us is a high school. Obviously, I never went to that high school because I didn't live here. But there's a high school, and I actually hear the band practicing, on school days and even weekends. And I hear that band, and sometimes I go to sleep to the sound of the drums right down the street. And I hear the morning announcements all the way from my room. And it just makes me yearn to be in high school again, or you know what I'm saying, to be a part of the school scene. But maybe not as a kid anymore. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, because one thing I always hated, like when I was in school and, from elementary school through, junior high and high school, all that, is when they would force you to participate in things, like pep rallies to an extent. And like in the lower grades, they would make you sing songs about the school, whether you liked it or not. Even if that school would end up being the worst part of your lifespan and you kind of knew it at the time, or you suspected it even back then, you were still required to sing songs praising that school or that institution. And, that's one thing I hated from my past. But, I was just thinking about how, people just, they come into your life. And it's like, they just seem so important at the time. And, in my case, I spend so much time thinking about them. And in some cases, like living to please them. But then one day they're just out of your life for whatever reason. Like in the case of this apartment, we moved away. And so it's kind of a good thing I didn't form connections with people that actually live there. But, I was just thinking about that, how all these people that experienced that fire together, it's like they've all kind of scattered, some of them still may live there in that complex. Some of them live in other states. And most of them that had anything posted about the fire or, you know, images, you know, of the aftermath and all that, most of the people no longer have those photos available. You know, if at all possible, they deleted it. And it's like they don't even want to acknowledge that part of their life, or even any part of their life before that. It's like they started over. And as far as they're concerned, you know, their life began, or as far as the internet is concerned, their life began at some point after the fire. And, you know, they just, it's like you like, unless you happen to know who it is, you can't really tell it's the same person. And so yeah, you know, I mean, a lot of good and bad memories were made in Texas. And, you know, every time I pass by that high school and every time I hear that train, I just can't help but wish that I could have had, you know, 4 solid decades, 40 years of life in this town, you know, going to that high school and that Walmart, you know. But then I know, I mean, if I actually had, I mean, there'd have been negative memories there too. So, you know, that's just what I wanted to share, and I'll go ahead and post this video.